So hello again, I'm Anushka, one of the teachers involved with this project for San Francisco Insight Dharma Center. Hello to the people on Zoom. So we're going to start with sitting together. Yeah? Grounding ourselves in the sense of the body sitting here, breathing, allowing all the sounds of our urban life around us, traffic, people, birds, music. Remembering that this sense of mindfulness or presence can meet all experiences, include all of them, and hold them in our heart with a sense of love. We can connect with our heart and with a sense of well-wishing for everyone who's here today. Those we know, those we don't know. Everyone on the streets, everyone in the courtyard, giving out food for those who are hungry. All animals around, birds, people. May we all be well, healthy, happy, and safe. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So thank you all for coming. My name is Anushka Fernandopole. I'm one of the teachers involved in this project, including all of my colleagues here who you will hear from. At different times, I was the leader of a LGBT Sangha that met in the LGBT Center, and then another Sangha called Monday Night Dharma that met in CIIS. And then for a while in the pandemic, an Instagram Sangha or Insta Sangha, and now free-floating Dharma teacher. I actually live around the corner. I live like 3 blocks away. So this is my home territory. I've lived there in an apartment there for about 20 years. So lived in the city for about 25 years. So I very much have a connection to San Francisco, and I'm very happy about this project. I had the idea that it would be nice to have a place for Dharma practice as a dedicated Dharma center, partly because I came up in Dharma practice in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where there is such a place called Cambridge Insight Meditation Center. And I benefited so much from going to classes and sittings and community activities there, and kind of a good complement to retreat practice, where you get to practice all the kinds of things that you do in regular lay life and expand to a full form, 8-fold path, communication, relationships, service, a full spectrum. A friend of mine some years ago was selling his place in this neighborhood that was actually this beautiful, huge, big place. And when I heard about that, I thought this would actually be a good Dharma center. So I invited my friends to come and look at it, and that one didn't turn out, but it was kind of the seeds for me of being interested in there being a place for practice in the city, also to establish insight meditation. Not just for those of us here now, but in fact, actually for the future generations in San Francisco to benefit from the Dharma. And I really believe that our practice and the activities that come from that supports not only just ourselves, but everyone in the city, everyone around. So I'm very happy to get to be here and to be part of this project. And I will invite maybe Eugene, and then we'll just go down the line here. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? No. Turn me up. Turn me on. Turn me up. How about now? Oh, there we go. I can even hear myself. Great to be here live. We were saying this as we got here. Everybody looks so much better live than on Zoom. It's like, wow, I didn't know you were a real person in this way. So, and of course, just to see each other live too is always a pleasure, because we've all known each other for many years and taught together in different forms at different times. And I'm really happy to be here with you and be here with this group of people, because I think this is a really, really important way for the Dharma to happen in San Francisco. And I've been here the second longest in terms of San Francisco Dharma. Howie's like the old man of San Francisco Dharma. And San Francisco Insight, I've been doing it 30 years plus, something like that. And we wanted to get a place many years ago. We almost did in Fort Mason. And then I had a big bike accident, and that all went, out the window. And we're so happy that the idea came back with Anushka and John, and that we're going to do it. And we can do it. And what's beautiful is we can only do it together. Like we can't do it. We're in a certain role as the teachers, and it's a really important role, but it's only a role. The community, the Sangha, is really what will make this happen. And it's so important for us to keep getting that. We have the good fortune to be in our role, but don't underestimate your good fortune to be in your role, whatever your role may be, meaning student or volunteer or fundraiser or anything like that, because they're all important parts of the Dharma. And it's really something that I've learned to love because of San Francisco Insight. And when I say, I'm going to call it SFI to differentiate it from SFI DC, right, which is San Francisco Insight Dharma Center. They weren't trying to steal the SFI name. They just liked, and everybody liked that name, so we went with it. But it wasn't, it's really all of us and all our different sanghas that we have taught together. And that means all of you. Even if, you know, I've never met you, it doesn't matter. You're part of SFIDC. You're part of this new upwelling of the Dharma in San Francisco. And I personally love retreats. And I love teaching retreats, and I love sitting retreats. You know, half the time I'm sitting, I love it. The other half I'm suffering, but it's okay. It's good suffering. It's the suffering that leads to the end of suffering. But the city centers are so important. And I remember I did my first long retreat, and I was hooked on the first retreat. I remember having a very, very deep retreat. And I remember coming back, and it was like, okay, what now? And what now in San Francisco, this is some 40 years ago, was Howie's group. And I remember going to your group by the church on Dolores in the old days. And, you know, and I barely knew who Howie was. I did a little, he taught on the retreat, but he was a different teacher then, which we can talk about sometime. But it was great because Howie was there, and there was people there, and there was community there, and there was a place to sit together. And it's so important to be here now and aware, which I assume you're all aware right now. And so we have a Sangha in which to support the opening of consciousness and the freedom that comes with the Dharma. And I hope somebody's keeping some idea of how long, because I could just go on and on. We're doing 5 minutes. How long have I been talking? But there's something about right now that is so supportive in community. And really, I just want to do one little thing, which is be aware right now. And be aware of what you're aware of right now, whether it's me or your thoughts or your body or the breath or the sounds that may be happening or your heart. And then, of course, be aware of what's aware of your body or your heart or your mind or your thoughts, because it's all right here. And the Sangha is magic. It supports the opening and the unfolding of the Dharma. And the Dharma means the truth. And when I hear it, I think, oh, the truth of reality, or the truth of the goodness of reality is really how I think of it. The Dharma just opens us to the truth and the beauty and the goodness and the love that's right here. I mean, you wouldn't come here today if there wasn't something you loved. And I believe everybody here loves the Dharma. And the Dharma is good. I'm writing something right now, and it's all about good, because really, you know, as they say in the Christian tradition, which we're sitting in right now, God created the world and saw that it was good. And it's true. So happy to be here and see what happens today.
Maybe I'll just use this. I can just. I got so pulled into the beauty of being here now that my mind and body went silent, and now I have to kind of be reincarnated as the next person to speak. But that's all fun, and that's part of being together in the Dharma, is that we discover. Every moment is a new discovery. And although I have to say that as I'm reemerging right now, I'm remembering so many years in this church. And some of the events that I experienced in this church were really big events, like elections, where the whole city was screaming when Barack Obama was elected, and it was just electric. And then the night, it happens to be Tuesday nights where we met, where the night that Donald Trump was elected, and the collective, at least in this neighborhood, the collective depression was so palpable, and just the uncertainty of how to navigate that. And being in an environment like this, coming together was a beautiful refuge in the middle of that, made it possible to sit in the middle of it all. And that has been my vision all along, to have a place of refuge in the middle of it all. Because there is an obsession in our culture, as you all know, of busyness, and the obsession with what's next, and going, becoming, and to have a place where we just step out of all of our identities, our roles, and do it together. And I'm always reminded that the third of the the three gems, Buddha, as Eugene pointed to, the Dharma, as he pointed to, the Sangha, is equal. And that palpable sense of being uplifted by being together and supported. Just want that to continue. And admittedly, we are oldie. I'm an oldie moldy in Dharma terms. I'm not busy getting old. I mean, from the inside, I feel like I'm 16, and I want to come up and squeeze every single person here and say, I love you. But I've been doing this now. I've been leading a group for 38 years, Eugene, more than 30, many of us a long time. And the succession thing is not, it may work on TV. It's not working on TV either, but it's not really unfolding. And COVID just dropped a bomb in the middle of the whole sense of sanghas evolving into new generation. To me, the only way that we can have a vital city Dharma scene, at least at the rate that we are going, is that we pool our resources, that we come together. And it may be a matter of necessity, but it's also a matter of joy, and it's inevitable, and it's so long overdue. When Eugene was looking at Fort Mason all those years ago, I was ready to join him. We went into the Presidio. I liked my personal identity as Mission Dharma and all that. I liked my own scene, but I didn't care that much. Much more important is that we have a place to be together. Then I was remembering the evenings here, and this is the last thing I'll say, the evenings here when we would have gatherings before the group, and to see people come together and share food and talk. In fact, I think I met one of our treasurers who became our treasurer just talking at the table. Somebody who would, had we not come together and connected with each other, we would have just remained in that kind of solitary Dharma thing, even when we were together. But a place where people could gather, get to know each other, hang out, as well as practice together and do retreats. It's just long overdue, and I would love to see it unfold. And this is the time. And we are emerging. It seems like we are in that kind of bardo, that gap between another lifetime and the emerging next life. And it seems like it's happening right now. We can be reborn into a collective Sangha. So good luck, everyone. Lovely being with you.
Hey, everyone. It was just a few weeks ago that I taught my first live retreat since the pandemic. And Anushka was there. We were in the remote part of New Mexico. And this is the first time that I've come together with people live as a non-retreat Dharma event. And it's really something to be in the presence of all of us. So as you've heard from different voices, this has been kind of a seed, this idea of creating a central place where the Dharma could flourish in San Francisco. It's been a seed that was planted a long time ago and watered pretty vigorously for a while. And then someone said the bomb of the pandemic hit, and we were all scrambling to adapt. And it feels like we're just coming out of an extended period that transformed everything in many, many ways, and trying to find our way back to being together live, to recreating community, and in some way to discovering what does the Dharma look like now in this place. I've been really struck, especially from being away from San Francisco and coming back, at the fact that the city itself is really struggling. And it seems to me as true as ever that a Dharma center could be, as Anushka said, not just useful for the people who come, but also useful as a place where there is a kind of essential goodness that we get to discover together that will have an impact in the difficulty of San Francisco and the difficulty of the world. And it does feel like this moment, the reemergence is, there's a lot of possibility. And there's also a lot of unknown. And it may be that some of the early visions that we had don't make sense anymore for the situation that we're in now. And it could be that some of the seeds that we planted now get to grow. But like others, I feel very much committed to what does it mean to practice the Dharma in the context of our daily lives. And I feel like I've been very much the beneficiary of kind of intensive retreat practice. I've done years of monastic practice. I've benefited so much from those forms, styles of Dharma that have set roots here. And I always feel like this next piece, the kind of integrated in the context of daily life, perhaps what you found at Cambridge, Anushka, in those early days, that there's a lot of room to grow, a lot to be discovered, a lot to be unfolded. So like my colleagues here, I am hopeful that something really wonderful will arise. And before I hand off the mic, I want to name that first, there's one other teacher who is part of this collective who's not here, who many of you know, Victoria Carey. And she's been an integral part of the conversations and the inspiration behind this. And she's on retreat now herself, so she wasn't able to be here today. But I want to bring her name and her spirit in with us. And also to say, as others have said, but there were so many people who are not us sitting up here in front who hold this day together and who have been working behind the scenes to meet in committees and talk about communications and fundraising and looking for a space and so on. And just to acknowledge my appreciation for all of you who often don't get to be seen, who've been working quite hard to have today happen, and to be doing the legwork behind what will be needed to pull this off. So thank you all so much for some of you we see around the room who've been working with the AV and getting the food together, but many people's efforts may not be so obvious, but are deeply appreciated from me and all of us. So thank you. Oh,
also, since Victoria is not here, I want to shout out to the People of Color Sangha that she has led in the city for a number of years, and also mention, I think she's the one of us who was born and raised in San Francisco and went to high school here and all of that. So yeah, she's on retreat for several months, but is here in the heart.
yeah, thank you.
My name is John Martin, and I lead the Insight Upper Market Sangha. I live pretty close by too, about 8 blocks away. Want to acknowledge, I'm not sure, can folks online who are on Zoom see the people in the room? So we have about 75 people in the room for those of you who are on Zoom. And how many folks on Zoom do we have approximately? 28. Okay, so I want to acknowledge the folks on Zoom. We teachers can't see the screen right now to see you, but glad you can join on Zoom. And powerful moment to be together, all of the sanghas in San Francisco coming together. I want to say hooray, and I want to say it's about time. It's about time we all come together. Just to feel the power when we were sitting together in silence. So over 100 people sitting together in silence here in the busyness of San Francisco. Only good things can come from that. We can bring the goodness of our hearts, bring compassion, wisdom into San Francisco, into the world. And through the creation of the Insight Dharma Center, we can open the door to others to come into the Dharma, and hopefully have a more diverse San Francisco Sangha practitioners than we now have. It's so hard to predict where this will lead, the Insight Dharma Center, but certainly one of the wishes I have, I think I speak for other teachers, is that we will have sanghas that fully reflect the diversity of San Francisco, an important goal. I feel the power of not only sitting together in silence, but also the social time that we'll have here. And I can well imagine that this might be something that we do on a regular basis, maybe quarterly, all the sanghas coming together, connecting. It may be that in 10 years we have a center, we have a building like this, and we have a big hall, and we have small meeting rooms, and we have a dining hall and kitchen. We have rooms where teachers can meet with practitioners. That might be the way we go. I don't really know. We certainly can benefit from the online presence we have now. Perhaps we will start having monthly offerings of half-day or day-long retreats, and all of the teachers here will commit to teaching regularly, so we can draw from all the sanghas when we offer a day-long retreat or a half-day retreat. And maybe new ideas will come forward, new programs will be created. this is the value of Sangha. And so much of that will come from the volunteers and from Sangha members. And some Sangha members will choose to just continue to sit with the Sanghas that they're connected to now. Those still exist. Some will see perhaps the opportunity to sit with more than one Sangha. And many more connections may be made between Sangha members through events like this. It's quite an amazing thing to have the Dharma here in San Francisco, to reflect that the Buddha set the wheel of the Dharma in motion almost 2,600 years ago. The Dharma carried forward for almost that entire time in Asia, through teachers, through the generosity of the community and practitioners. And here we are in San Francisco on a Saturday morning, practicing, following the very same instructions offered by the Buddha 2,600 years ago. So may great blessings and benefits come from our coming together in this way, from the creation of the Insight Dharma Center. Thank you. So we've already had some very generous volunteers who helped to make things happen, and the creation of the website. Great thing to have the website to get us started. And many volunteers who are already doing a lot of work and helping to make things happen, and additional volunteer opportunities. And I want to ask a couple of volunteers to come forward to introduce other volunteers, because we would probably miss introducing all the volunteers. And they will also talk about the opportunities available if you choose. So Lauren Tulp and Sarah, if you could come forward and share.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Tulp, and I'm part of the working group that's been meeting monthly to bring this to life. I just wanted to acknowledge the folks who have been part of that working group now. Mary, John, Michelle, Grant, Fahad, Paul, Kitty, Nina, Kerry, Noemi, Jeff, Syra, and Johnny. Thank you all for your generosity and big hearts. And John mentioned the generosity that has helped to perpetuate these teachings and pass them on for thousands of years. So I did want to briefly talk about Dana. If you are feeling moved to continue the momentum that is being generated here today, there is a Dana basket floating around, as well as a QR code to donate via PayPal. I see it being brought in now, so it'll be at the back of the room. And we're starting small. We're starting with a website, which is one place where you can find out about the sitting groups and different activities, but we're really excited to work with everyone who's interested to see where this leads and what directions it takes. And so to talk a little bit more about volunteer opportunities, which is another way of sharing, practicing Dana, I want to hand it over to Syra.
Thank you. So I am Syra, and I am a teacher and board member with San Francisco Insight. And I've recently joined the working group, as we're called. I call us the organizing body for the IDC intention. And I joined that group just a while ago, a few months ago. And when it was decided that we would have a culminating event to really mark the creation of this collective that we have, and to share about this intention and get some momentum behind this intention for our center. So I actually came to the Dharma. Many of us do. We come to the Dharma or our practice through challenge, some kind of challenge. I had some loss, some grief, and it brought me to the Dharma. I began, it's funny because on the drive, I drove 2 volunteers here today. On the drive, we talked about Obama. Someone else had that experience. It was my experience, and how you mentioned Obama as well. My first time walking into East Bay Meditation Center was a Wednesday. So it was the day after Barack Obama's inauguration. And I really needed it. I really needed the community at the time. And so I went back again, and I kept going back again and again and again. And I started volunteering. And I was there so much the first 2 years that I met the center there, that they decided to make me the coordinator. And I started coordinating this and coordinating that. And before you knew it, I was the development person there. And then it really launched me into the teaching path. I was already teaching. I was working with young people in the arts. And so it just became this natural thing to work with young people and the Dharma. And that's really how my path began. And so connecting with community in that way, so powerful in the ways that we do. Just this small body of people that has gathered, this collective teachers, our collective volunteers and organizers and hearts and minds. This is really a monumental opportunity. When I imagine the center manifesting, I imagine decades upon decades, souls upon souls, hearts upon hearts being impacted just by what we're doing here and what we will accomplish together. So I would encourage community gathering in this way. It's great for friendship. It's great for our hearts. It's great for the practice. And we have an opportunity. There's so many opportunities. We're at the ground floor to get involved with the IDC and really to use your talents to share whatever it is that you would like as a part of this vision. So if you would like to, if you're interested in volunteering or checking out what's available, I would encourage you to go to the IDC website, which is really easy because it's insightdharmacenter.org. And that's it, insightdharmacenter.org. There's a volunteer form at the bottom of the first page. Click on that, tell us your interests, and I will be the one to contact you. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Sarah. We open for questions.
Yeah. One of the things I really appreciate what Lauren and Syra just said, and I think it's really important to get the Dharma of volunteering, which I've done plenty of in my life. Probably the first real volunteering I did was for Zen Hospice Project some 30 or 35 years ago, a long time ago, and it changed my whole life. And I just want to say that in appreciation of what people have been doing here already for IDC, and to really encourage you, if you feel drawn, try it and see what happens. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to continue volunteering. You can leave anytime, and it's no big deal. It's no problem. But you may be surprised to see what it does to your heart as well as how it helps others.
You want to just call people?
Yeah, we'd love to open up the floor for any questions that anyone has about IDC or about us, about Eugene. I have the dirt. No, please. Do we have a roving mic by chance?
This is it. This is it. Okay.
Okay.
Or you can just repeat the question, maybe, how you can hear.
Was it you, Madison?
I can even speak up.
Please, I will repeat it anyway, because some people won't be able to hear.
Could you use the mic for the Zoom?
So we should take this one. Oh.
I'll use this. And I'll do this. You need.
Hi, thank you. I wasn't sure what this was. Am I too close to the mic? Oh, my name's Madison. I've been coming around here for 10 years and I've been in 3 of the sanghas. Yes, of teachers up here. So, and before that, I was doing the same thing in Hawaii and was in 3 of the sanghas in Honolulu, where the only time the 3 teachers got together was periodic potlucks. So I was curious as to what this was, and I've just been piecing it together, listening. I'm assuming that the sanghas are continuing individually. And it's the piece of the coming together that I don't quite get, that I wanted to hear more about. That was my question. Thank you.
See if this mic works. Okay, yeah. This individual sanghas will continue, and how the sanghas come together is to be determined in part by the community members. But certainly the wish is to be able to publicize our day-long offerings, our half-day offerings, special programs, to be able to promote it to the whole San Francisco Dharma community, all of the sanghas, and the benefits that come from that. And then probably as I said, new ideas will come forward, and perhaps gatherings like this will continue.
I just want to add something. Our original vision is that even if we had a collective space, that we would have our individual sanghas meeting within that space and everyone would share it, but we would still keep our individual identities for a time until it was no longer relevant or necessary. And then we would become just IDC.
I can pass this mic around to others who want to speak.
Hi, my name is Ruth. And again, I've sat with all the teachers up here with great pleasure. And I was wondering, we're here today in person, which is so fabulous. And I was just wondering if any of the teachers are planning to start to meet in person, either for the weekly or for half day or anything like that. I've missed that so much.
I can speak a little bit for San Francisco Insight, who to date, we have decided to continue with Sunday evening and Monday afternoon groups online, in part because, as you've probably seen in other sanghas as well, we've had people come in from all over, and we've received pleas from those people to please not stop doing what we're doing. One of the new projects that we took up, which I believe was Syra's idea originally, was that we're now doing a once a month community service project, which was set up in part to do community service and also set up in part so that people could meet live. People who wanted to be in Sangha and be engaging together would have an opportunity to do that outside of the sort of more traditional or preset meditation and Dharma talk setting. And I think for me, and we've talked about this quite a bit, I think of the individual sanghas here and also including Victoria, that those are kind of like the backbone of what could become IDC, and that everything else that grows up around it, whether it's sessions like this, or we've among ourselves talked about starting to co-lead at each other's sanghas so that the sanghas can get to know different people. There may be other things like the community service project or quarterly meetings like this. All of that's to be determined. And we have some ideas, but we're also hoping that all of you will have ideas that we can flesh out the skeleton, as it were, or the backbone, with things that are really useful and meaningful and important and would be of support to all of you in a kind of fully robust expression of the Dharma.
Speaking for Mission Dharma on the front of in-person, you know, throughout the pandemic, we've mostly been meeting once a month for a half-day retreat. And last month we did our half-day retreat in person at Fort Mason. And I'm personally committed to doing every other month in person. And thanks to one of our Sangha members, Stephanie, we were able to use a space at Fort Mason. And it was glorious, one, to be together, two, to listen to the seagulls. But that kind of in-person tactile experience, I'm committed to. But it won't be every month. And also to honor all the people who have joined us from afar, we're continuing every other month to do the online half days as well. So that's my plan for now.
Yeah, my group has not returned in person. And in fact, even the online one has faded away because I've been pulled into retreat teaching that has started in person. So I'm traveling a lot more, but we'll look for ways to re-engage here as well.
My group is continuing online, but we're now beginning to have a regular schedule of dinners, getting together in person for dinners to have that social connection.
Yeah, and as Pam said, we're still online at SFI, but I'm in person at Spirit Rock. I have, 3 retreats coming up, and love to be live with you on a retreat as well as on Zoom for the weekly meetings. And just if you want to check out the weekly meetings, Howie and I will teach together at SFI tomorrow night. So we'll be online from 6 to 7:30 and giving a taste of what it means to teach together.
Hi there, I'm Russell. First time I've been back to this space since the pandemic. I've been sitting here with Howie for over 10 years. But space, like collective space for all sanghas is an amazing idea. If you're reading headlines about San Francisco, there is a vacuum of vacant space all over the city. And a lot of ideas swirling around in the city and county government to try to figure it out. I'm just wondering, where are you all at with that conversation? And I'm probably going to volunteer to be part of that conversation because it's just something I'm passionate about and have experience with. So where are you at?
Well, there is.
Renting, owning?
There
things
is,
like that?
there is a subcommittee, a volunteer subcommittee that's their subset of what they're taking on is specifically looking at space. So it'd be great to have you join. And, you know, for a long time, we thought we'd never get a space in San Francisco pre-pandemic, right? And now things have changed quite a bit. So, yeah, please step in and let's see what's possible.
We need to do some pretty significant fundraising too. So.
And how will that fundraising occur? Those of us who are passionate about that idea, who want to contribute specifically to that effort, is there a way for us to do that?
The volunteer group will be, we'll be counting on the volunteer group to get that going, and the teachers will be supportive. Looking for the leadership from the volunteers, and then we'll
Is there someone here who's part of either the fundraising or the building seeking part of the? We have a bunch of subcommittees of volunteers. Maybe not.
Lauren.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
I'll just say that the efforts are still very, very early on that. We know that that's a huge commitment. And part of what we want to do here is kind of launch our collective Sangha and see where things lead. But also very excited about that idea, like many in this room. So we are at the very beginning stages, I would say, in terms of where we're at with that idea. And the subcommittee is still getting off the ground. So this is the perfect time, if you're interested, to get involved.
Let Lauren or Sarah know if you're interested in what your particular interest is.
My question is related to that, so you can just tell me if the conversation hasn't happened yet, but is there a thought of renting a space for the group in the meantime, while it sounds like buying a space is the long-term fundraising piece of it?
Possible. We're open. The teachers are certainly open to it.
Hi, my name's Cliff. First of all, I just want to thank you for organizing this, and to all the volunteers who work behind the scenes to make this happen. You know, doing my own mindful practice has been beneficial for me. I used to be a coach, a high school coach, and I enjoyed sharing that with my athletes, and they really enjoyed having that be part of their athletic experience. You know, I look around the room here and I see a bunch of older people like me, right? And so I'm wondering what you all are thinking about doing to get younger people to experience the Dharma, because I mean, it's one thing to go through struggle, right? Is through our lives and then find this. But if you can find it when you're young and you know, really trying to figure out who you are, I think it could be such a benefit later on in life.
It's a really important question about how we're going to support different cohorts of people to join who may not be seen here right now. And that's part of what we hope to do together, and then to discover how to do it. But of course, when I think about us having a center, it means we can do anything. So we could have a young person's group, we could have a high school group, we could have a woman's group, a men's group, we could have a neither men or women's group, or whatever is needed to support the different components of humanity that are seeking to be free. And I love that you bring that up, because that's part of what we hope will be threaded in IDC. That we'll be doing that in different ways. And we don't have the perfect answers now. We'll do it together, and we'll figure out how to do it together. And also we're going to encourage a lot of younger teachers to come teach at our sanghas, right? And of course, yeah, etc.
Just like to say that definitely the demographic is on the older side today, but when we met here over the many years, it was actually quite a young sangha, and it really does depend on where we're located, and that there is a place. The online experience that people have stayed connected with has trended toward whiter and older in general, and I think that would change naturally if we had a living space, and adding to that intentional widening of our demographic would be a great thing. So
I see some younger people hanging around in the back, as is their wont. So you might not see them too. But I think also there is there's so many different avenues through like secular mindfulness now that people are taught in schools or at workplaces and things like that. And then when they finish that kind of limited course, is like, oh, now what if I'm actually really inspired or engaged in that? So I think having a city center is one way that people from all of those different demographics could come and learn more and connect, as well as people who go on retreats. Because actually, like at Spirit Rock, when I'm teaching retreats there now, it tends to be a lot more younger people than pre-pandemic, as well as a lot more diverse, like much higher percentage of people of color. And then again, once people leave that and come into their regular life, having a way for them to connect. I'm actually curious how many people here actually live in San Francisco, if you don't mind raising your hand. Okay, cool, great. I mean, people will be welcome to come from anywhere, but I was just wondering. Yeah, I mean, other issues, of course, in San Francisco is people being priced out due to residential real estate being so expensive, right? So that's another issue. And but this could be a great moment to get a place, because I just heard the Westfield Mall is being abandoned. So it might be too big for us. I don't know, like to start with, but there's a lot of options. And I'll say that also, like in many different Asian countries, the Dharma centers are supported by people. So like all the activities are able to be offered freely. And it's through generosity of donors that the buildings are given, and the support for the grounds and everything like that. So I remember when I was first thinking about this, at first I was like, oh, wow, it's so expensive to buy things in San Francisco. But then, as a friend pointed out, there also is a lot of wealth in San Francisco, right? There's been a lot of generation of wealth. And so why not give an opportunity for people to put that towards something beneficial? I feel like in American, like Buddhism or Dharma, we don't talk about this so much, but there's something about the karma of generosity, and particularly giving to worthwhile, beneficial causes. That is actually a very positive activity. Like it's a positive activity of effort and of, putting your wealth somewhere. So in case people have extra buildings or wealth around, give them an opportunity to offer it to something that's for benefit for so many people and the Dharma too. And yeah, there's some way in which also this is like some continuation of the movement of Dharma into the West, I think, that's like, it hasn't been in the US for that long, really, like less than 100 years, maybe, something like that. In the scheme of 2,600 years, that's like not that long, even though as Americans, we think 100 years is very long, right? Or even less than 100 years. So yeah, we all can have the opportunity to be part of this movement of establishing Dharma here for the benefit of even later generations. So that's inspiring to me too.
And I'm going to add something which Amy reminded me. San Francisco Insight has a young persons group that just started at 12 o'clock on Fridays, led by Miru Kim. And Miru is a young person, Asian American, and she's great. She's also technologically way more sophisticated than me, because she comes from a different generation than I do.
As I've been listening to everyone, my little visioning mind has been kicking in. And I imagine that's also true for many of you. And it would be really wonderful to come forth with your ideas. But one of the ideas I had when I thought of the demographics, what's happening in the city, is that I know that there are places where a Dharma center was placed that was not in any way representative of the general population of that area. And that place became a magnet for people of different ages, different ethnicities, et cetera. And that would be, IMS put out in the country, and people started moving around there. And I know that's true of many places. And I could see a Dharma center pulling people back to the city in spite of all the energy going the other direction. But so that's just another vision, and why not?
Just a couple more questions and we'll, it looks like lunch is just about ready. So maybe folks who haven't spoken, asked a question.
Hi, everyone.
Stand up, please. Thank you.
Hello. I just wanted to ask, because I saw so many beautiful people already offering to get involved in the groups that are maybe not running yet. So I was wondering, is there maybe today some kind of form where these people can give their emails and say what group they would like to be involved in? So that even if it's not running yet, this will not be forgotten. And thank you to those who have already offered to participate. Thank you.
Can she talk to you? Oh, yeah. Or anyone?
Certainly, you're welcome to talk to myself or Syra or anyone else in the working group. And I would also encourage you, just to make sure we're keeping track of everyone, to fill out that form on the website. Actually, I think that's the best way to make sure that we get everybody's info. So again, the insightdharmacenter.org, right at the bottom of the page, there's a quick little survey monkey to figure out what you're interested in. And that way we can reach out to you.
Hi, my name is Pam, pronouns she, her. So I'm curious for all teachers, what other cities of this size have centers that are established? Anushka, you mentioned Cambridge. Obviously, there's Ambient East Bay Meditation Center across the bay. But I'm wondering, I don't know, but I'm curious what other cities this size have centers that have been successful and whether there are models out there that we can build on.
Well, somehow the moment that you asked your question, I thought of a city in Colorado of 18,000 people that has 150 people a week coming to the sitting groups and have many programs. So even in a small community, you can develop a lot of interest and passion for the Dharma. But I think of New York Insight, which it no longer has a physical space, but are they're in the search phase for an in-person space again. Otherwise, Cambridge Insight, I don't.
Seattle Insight. I don't know if they still have a physical space. I think many went through the pandemic thing of shutting down, going online and so on.
Yeah, Seattle, LA, Colorado. One of there, Minneapolis. Oh, yeah.
And the Insight Meditation Center in Redwood City is such a beautiful model where they have activities throughout the week and many programs. Insight Meditation Center in Redwood City, led by Gil Fronsdale, a really beautiful model.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that struck us is that there are other Dharma centers in San Francisco, but there's not an Insight Dharma Center. And so that was part of the wish, was to have a home here for this particular lineage of teaching. And as other people have said, to have a place where people can either come in post secular mindfulness training and deepen, and or people can come post retreat practice as a way to integrate and continue to cultivate practice.
I imagine many folks know this, but it's probably useful to know. You may be asked this as you talk to friends about the new Insight Dharma Center. Well, what's the difference between that and the Dharma Collective? Dharma Collective is peer-led. It's different lineages and teachers coming in and out. There are some teachers who are consistent week by week, but many of the different Buddhist lineages having teachings being offered there. So we are strictly Insight Dharma Center.
Once a week or everybody can come together.
The question for those, especially online, may not have heard is the possibility of having an in-person Sangha for this whole group, this whole Sangha, multiple Sanghas, maybe a once a week in-person sit, perhaps here. I think we're open to anything. We're open to ideas, and it's nothing to be ruled out. And that this is, you can see I can feel the energy, new ideas coming forward. This is what we're looking for. This is how the Dharma will continue to grow and flourish in San Francisco.
Exactly.
We could alternate one week as a possibility.
That's right. That was part of the vision initially, was that originally many of these Insight Dharma groups had grown up in kind of a little isolated pocket. And part of our wish is to have it be more fluid in terms of how we're interacting with each other and how the Sanghas that are affiliated with the different teachers are able to interact with different teachers and with each other. Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Also, in addition to people coming from retreats or other mindfulness things, like my own entry into practice was like sort of gradual. So I started taking a one evening a week class, and then, my teacher encouraged me to do like a half day thing, and I was like, "Ooh, okay." Then I like that. So then I did a day long thing. Then she told me like, "Oh, there's this retreat place you can go and do like many days in a row, i.e. a retreat." So like that. So also it's possible that people can get introduced in this way as well, which is great, and also brings in people who wouldn't ordinarily think of going on a retreat right away. And being a retreat teacher, I also like that better when people have some experience before they come on retreat. So yeah, it's not as hard for them.
Want to keep going with questions? Okay, I see the meal out. I see the food is out. So I want to not take too long, but one in back, and then maybe one in front.
Back in the middle, right there, right to your right.
Indeed, there's a person of color. There's a question on the back.
Hello, my name is Allison, pronoun she, her. I don't know if the board or the team have considered doing or opening a center where, similar to the SF Center, people could stay and live there. And I was just thinking about how something really cool about the Zen tradition is that community living is it's central to it. And here in SF, there are a lot of really dedicated or devoted practitioners, but when people kind of take like that deep dive, there isn't a place where they can live like permanently or volunteer at. So then I see a lot of young folks sort of like Dharma bumming, and they're kind of moving from like one center to another. And And then I end up finding out that so many of these folks originally started in the Bay Area, but they like end up in Joshua Tree or like all over the country, caves in Arizona. Yeah, so I thought it'd be really cool if this center also had some room for that, where people could stay there semi-permanently and like help out in the kitchens or like help out with the grounds.
Beautiful idea.
Come on, put your hand up.
Center, raise your hand.
Hi, I'm Karen, pronoun she, her. And my question is, if people have ideas and questions and so on, how can they continue the conversation in between these gatherings?
I think maybe the answer is we're not entirely sure. As you can see, this is sort of the ground level today. But our aim is to have everything unfold from here through these volunteer committees. So I think that will be the place. I'm not sure exactly which committee you would want to join, but all within each of those committees, there will be various pieces of the conversation we've been having here picked up and having those threads pulled through. And we'd love to have your ideas and your energy, any of you who want to join in. And you, as Howie was saying a minute ago, you were saying a minute ago, you can feel the energy of it, right? And as several people said, you can feel the impact in your own heart as you feel the pull to like want to be involved in something that I know for many of us, we recognize that we're going to potentially be laying ground for something that I hope won't see the end benefit of, right? That this will be the beginning of something that will go on for a long, long time after we're gone. So please step in, share your love of the Dharma and your care and all of your ideas and brilliance and effort. All of that is hugely warmly welcome. So.
To add that getting 5 teachers together is a minor miracle, and having us organize programs and really difficult to do. So we love the Dharma. We want to offer the teachings. We want to offer the Buddhist teachings. We want to support the community needs, but we need the ideas and the organizational skills to come out of the community itself. So we'll get a break for lunch, and Anushka or Pam, you want to do the dedication?
So the lunch crew is standing in back, having done quite a bit of work to prepare a beautiful meal for us. So we will honor their efforts and break in a moment. And before we go, just to invite you to take a moment just to feel inside anything that may have been touched or stirred in you as we've come together for the first time, and hopefully not the last, hopefully the first of many, many times, sowing the seeds of the future Dharma in San Francisco. So really fully taking in any warmth, tenderness, inspiration, generosity, tenderness that you may feel. And then opening our hands, opening our hearts and fully, generously sending out, extending out any goodness, any benefit, any merit that may have come from our gathering together here this afternoon. And by the power and truth of our coming together in this way, may our love of the Dharma, may our care for each other, for the city, for the planet, may all of that goodness extend in all directions, touching the lives of many, many beings, known and unknown, seen and unseen, all across our wide, aching world. May all beings be happy and peaceful. May all beings everywhere be safe and free from harm. And may we together awaken and be free from suffering. Thank you all very much.